Hello and welcome, race fans, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting as we are here tonight for the Smoke Inc. 200 here at the Kansas Motor Speedway with the Sim Racing Unleashed Cup Series, and I must say Next Gen Cup Series as they take the Next Gen car here to the 1.5 miler here at the Kansas Speedway. Let's give a special shout out to all these sponsors who helped make it happen here tonight. Of course, give a shout out to Smoke Inc. for this race being brought to you by them. But also want to give a shout out to Budget Sim Boxes. If you're a sim racer on a budget looking for a butt box, then Budget Sim Boxes is your source. With several different sizes and functionality options, Budget Sim Boxes will have a button box that fits your price range without breaking the bank. Budget Sim Boxes is your source of high quality button boxes at an affordable price. Find them on Facebook by searching Budget Sim Boxes or look for them in the Facebook iRacing flea market. We also want to give a shout out to ButtKicker. Remember, ButtKicker, every game deserves a truly immersive experience. The ButtKicker Gamer 2 lets you feel every detail, from the subtle footsteps to the rumble of a V10 powered race car, from ambient environmental effects to the power of a nearby explosion. By moving physical mass instead of only the air, the Gamer 2 provides instant, accurate, powerful base response, and it's all perfectly in sync with every game. No additional software required. So make sure you head on over to ButtKicker.com and check out their ButtKicker Gamer 2 or their other products, and you can use our promo code FreakyFast20 to get 20% off of any purchase there at ButtKicker.com. Now, last but not least, let's give a shout out to the McConey Setup Shop. McConey Setup Shop is your home for iRacing setups and the official setup shop of the Richmond Raceway esports team, fielding the number 46 and 90 in the Coca-Cola iRacing series of Jimmy Mullis and Zach Novak. With everything from the Legends to Cup cars, we've got you covered. Dirt setup for late models, modifieds, and wing sprints are available as well. Coaching with professional drivers such as NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series champion Zach Novak, his teammate Jimmy Mullis, River Hayes, and many more also are available. And remember, at the McConey Setup Shop, there are setups, but they're your victories. You can head on over to www.mcconeysetupshop.com today, where you can use our promo code FFB10 to get 10% off of any purchase of a setup there. And we also have a giveaway going on right now, as we will be giving away a free coaching lesson there at the McConey Setup Shop of choice from you. So make sure you check out the link we'll be putting out in the chat out there later for you to enter that giveaway there to win yourself some coaching lessons from the McConey Setup Shop and the Richmond Raceway esports team. So thank you to all the sponsors who help make it happen here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting and Sim Racing's Unleashed Cup Series, as they're a proud group for sure. But let's get the racing action started here tonight. I am Zach Hall up in the booth. Joined alongside me will be Sam Dyer, and we'll have Robert Moyer Jr. running the cameras in the production box. Sam back here for some more SRU Next Gen action, now here back to the high banks of the Kansas Speedway.
Yeah, back to 1.5 mile racing. This will be our third 1.5 mile race of the season. Back in week 3, we had Mark Whitley winning at Texas, and then a couple of weeks back, we were at Charlotte, where Hunter Hayward won for that 6th race of the season. And you know, tonight we're kind of expecting a very similar race of drivers utilizing the draft here tonight. But I think, Zach, tonight's going to be a little bit different than what those other two tracks were. We're at Kansas. There's a lot more lanes and positionings. You can place your cars here tonight as qualifying is underway. Watching practice, it was a blast to watch. A lot of side-by-side racing, and I'm expecting a lot of side-by-side racing at the early parts of this race. But I'm excited. 133 laps here tonight.
Yeah, what we see in practice was pretty wild. I was watching along with you there, Sam. And this track, I thought when I saw this one on the schedule, this one might actually be the most attuned to this race car and fit it the most, because this track right here, it gives you multiple groups options. So we're going to see a little bit better racing, I think, than we have from the rest of the regular season at the 1.5 miles, where it's been more of single file action, trying to get a one on the driver one at a time. Where here, I think we're going to be trying to get wins on multiple drivers. We'll just have to see when that tire fall off comes in, because I think that'll play a critical role into maybe single file into action out as we go.
So we're on board with the 52 of James Bryan, and looking at these drivers and the way this season's been going, it's been primarily watching Mark Whitley as well as Hunter Hayward win a lot of races, but the past 2 weeks we've gotten 2 new winners, having that of Steven Stempian as well as Steven Leffler getting into victory lane in these last 2 racetracks, but they've been different. Darlington and Phoenix, completely different from what we've been seeing from the rest of the regular season.
Oh, very, very different for sure. This track is going to throw up a complete curveball from what we've seen the past few weeks. So these drivers are not something new to do here tonight, as we've definitely been changing it up with the schedule there lately. And now you're seeing Mark Whitley have the fastest time still there at the top 40. The only driver to break into the 30s. We'll see what Hunter Hayward can do. I believe this will be his second lap in the second attempt with 24 seconds to go. He'll be trying to get that lap in.
Trying his best to finish out as he's on the back stretch, less than 20 seconds to go. It's going to be close if Hunter can get his second lap in, as he's now hit the 10-second timer currently while he's in the middle of 3 and 4. He's got to book it coming out of turn number 4, 5 seconds. He might just make it in time with 1 second to spare. Hunter Hayward gets his time in and up to 3rd place on the board.
That was, man, if it could ever be that close, that was about as close as it's ever going to get. So, great job for him there to slide the 3rd one. As we pull up the starting grid here, as we'll see Mark Whitley starting from that pole position in the number 77 machine. Second alongside him will be Jason Anderson in the 92, making an appearance here. Third is going to be Hunter Hayward in that 21 machine. Fourth is going to go to the rookie of Derek Love. The 53 machine of Dave Bush will start in the 5th position. 6th is going to go to race winner Steven Leffler. 7th is going to go to Brad Delph. 8th is going to be Todd East. 9th is going to be Gino Morrow. 10th is going to be Steven Stimpian. 11th is going to be Robbie Darnell. 12th is going to go to Michael Yarrow. 13th, James Bryant. 14th is going to go to Brandon Hartwell. And then I believe it'll be 15th will be David E. 16th will be Mike Chamberlain. 17th will be Paul Cohen. 18th is going to be Jim Coleman'sberger. 19th is going to be Jason Adams. 20th is going to be Mark Koscheck. And 21st, Keith Hurlbut. And rounding the field in the 22nd position is D.A. Albertano.
22 drivers potentially going to be on racing here tonight. So waiting for Guille to get himself on the grid, as well as for Jason Adams. But, you know, for this field, 22 drivers, quite a big field from what we've been seeing recently. And it's great to see newcomers coming in with that of Jim Coleman'sberger. It's good to see some new drivers come in and being a rookie into the Sim Racing Unleashed season 10 of the Cups, and you're using the next gen Cup cars. Zach, here at Kansas, what are some of the big factors we're expecting to see?
I expect to see, like I was talking about earlier, the multi-groove action come into factor. You know, we seem to be a top dominant track here with the past previous Cup cars, but is that going to be the case here today? I am not unsure about that. I think the bottom might be the way to go, so we need to be watching which line becomes that dominant line as these tires start to wear, because I do believe at some point this race will have to at least single file out for a bit.
Well, drivers are taking off, but 2 drivers, if they log back in, will be starting from pit road. That's going to be Alberto Tango as well as Adams. Both those drivers going to have to start from pit road, which most likely, with not being in the draft, could put those drivers potentially a lap down. Everyone's starting to get ready here. 1.5 miles is the distance here at Kansas. 133 laps is our distance for tonight's race. And Mark Whitley trying to continue on. I mean, he's been on such a roll. 4 wins this season, 6 top 5s, 7 top 10s. He's just been so consistent up front. It's those times where he gets into the wall early in these races where things just get a little tricky for the 77 later on in the race. We'll see how he can attack it, as our field is in the middle of 3 and 4.
Gotta limit those mistakes, Sam, but he's definitely got the pace. We'll see what he can do here, as he's definitely got some hungry drivers right there behind him.
Pace car pulls off. The Smoke Inc. 200 is about to go green, and the throttle's down. Green flag is out, and it's Mark Whitley pulling away, trying to pull himself as well as the 92 of Jason Anderson to his outside. And now you get to see the next gen cars here at Kansas How will the draft affect these drivers? They're going to be staying side by side. We saw a lot of how the draft was effective teamwork-wise at that of Charlotte a couple of weeks back. Expecting something very similar here as Mark Whitley's got the lead. Hunter Hayward right to his back bumper.
Yeah, you can see them two jumping out to an early lead there around the rest of the field. But like you said, the teamwork. I want to see if Smoke Inc. can do what they did at Charlotte and the other track of Michigan. They produce some great teamwork at those tracks, at these bigger tracks like this one, this next gen car. Let's see if they can get together right now. Hunter Hayward and Dave Bush up near the front. We'll see if Steven Stimpian can get himself closer up there from that 8th position.
Bush is doing his best effort, up to 4th currently, with Love right behind him, side by side. Currently back for that 6th position, you got that of Gino Morrow and Leffler stuck to the high side, and we're just seeing the drivers that are on the high side. Usually it's the preferred lane to be in once the tire starts to build in, but currently fading back. But we move back up front as it's going to be Mark Whitley already under pressure. Hunter Hayward to the inside and to the lead in just a blink of an eye. But you're seeing the drivers on the high side. They're in line, utilizing the draft. Hunter Hayward has to move up, and he does so on the entry of turn 3.
Yeah, I'm surprised we're already somewhat single file here. I would just from what we've seen in practice, I'm sure guys here are just being a little bit careful though. No reason to push the issue here early. No fast repairs here at Sim Racing Unleashed. So if you get in trouble with this next gen car, we talked about damage, Sam, with especially the 770. He's had issues with that this season. If you get damage on this car, especially at a mile and a half like this, it's going to be a long day.
Oh, it's going to be extremely long, and we've seen drivers in other races here this season in the first 15 laps just getting a little bit too overzealous and getting themselves into trouble, as Dave Bush still trying to figure out how to move forward. And when you're trying to go side by side, we're starting to see the draft pulling drivers closer in, and sometimes there's not enough space to get back in line, so you got to be careful. As at a Bush, he's found some space. He's got under that of Anderson. He's looking for anyone to help him out, but Bush up another spot.
You know, if I'm not correct, too, Sam, I believe Justin Anderson, he may be part of the Smoke Inc. team also. I know he was past seasons, so he could also be a teammate there, but he is starting to like drop back. Like you said, there's Derek Love looks to be getting by him now. They're all going to the bottom looking to train him. There's even Stimpy in there goes by now. Gino Morrow next in line will be Brad Delph. We'll see if Anderson can somewhat stabilize, but definitely losing positions from 3rd on back.
The drivers trying to be careful. A little bit of already Gino Morrow over the radio saying sorry if he tapped anyone. As drivers saw under practice, there were moments where you got these massive runs on the entry of the corner, and sometimes it kind of shocked the drivers, put them into spots where they would come up right onto the back bumper of the driver in front of them, and sometimes you hit the quarter panel just right on either corner, you can spin the car in front of you around. So drivers have to be aware of this sudden surge they can get if they're not able to slow down enough on the entries of these corners.
Yeah, also got to look out for tire wear. It looks like I heard a few drivers out there talking in the chat earlier during the driver chat, and they're talking a lot about tire wear. We've seen last week tire wear was the most critical thing, as Phoenix was pretty much just a cheese grater for tires last week as we were blowing right front to left and right there. Don't know if we'll have that issue tonight, but I know a few guys out there said tire wear is very extreme here.
Yeah, I mean, about 20 laps in, hearing drivers are about halfway already using most of their tires, so got to be careful for themselves. The 81, Steven Stempian, he is finding his speed and groove, currently up to 4th place, trying to follow and attach to the back bumper of Bush. Steven Stempian started back in 10th place, qualified there, now up to 5th, trying to move up to 4th if possible, but now we're starting to see that side-by-side action. Tire wear starting to kick in. Drivers now have to pick and choose. Do they want to run low and stay there, or do they want to stay high? As Gino Morrow, got to be careful. He got a little loose there in the corner, but able to hold on for the 71.
Oh, man. Very, very close there for Morrow. That could have been like the damage we were talking about there. That could have been a long race for him, but he's going to hold on to the outside position. But, yeah, Stimpian getting up there already in position up here, but Derek Love and Morrow not giving him a chance to get forward. As looks like that outer groove starting to work, I think. We'll have to see if it's a trend that we see in the other Cup car. See if that's something we see here happen.
Welcome to Super Speedway Racing at a mile and a half, as it is side by side, 3 rows deep. 2 rows deep now, but man, are they willing to get aggressive here. It's going to be Derek Love on the outside trying to lead the 87 machine and the 71 on the inside. You got that of Hunter Hayward and Mark Whitley. If you've been watching us on Freaky Fast Broadcasting yesterday, Mark Whitley was able to win for the NAISCC Cup Series and looking to double down, win twice during the weekend for the 77, but we know Hunter Hayward, another favorite to watch out as we're watching the middle of this pack. Currently, I gotta say, Steven Leffler, he backed off pretty quickly in this run. I think recognizing tire wear is something to watch out for, especially because we're looking at the trends of where we might see some drivers deciding to pit. And if we're already seeing half the tire wear, only 20 laps in, some drivers might be thinking about around lap 40 to 45, the window to making their first pit stops if we stay green.
Yeah, I think you're right about that window. That seems about correct. It looks like, ooh, man, Dave Bush starting to get swamped backwards as him and Stimpy go backwards. This thing, the outer group worked for Derek Love and Morrow as they jumped up there. As Whitley's still putting the pressure on for Hayward, but we're definitely seeing the racing close up and the lines be used a little bit differently.
Our front 3, front 4 all in line, but it's 5th on back where we're seeing side-by-side action. It's Bush, Leffler, side-by-side with then Delta and also Stempian. And then behind them, you've got yourself of Anderson getting a little bit loose underneath, and Michael Yarrow, the 95. Yarrow had a great run last week at Phoenix, and he's looking to try to continue on this great pace that he has over the long run for the 95. We'll see if he can figure out how to cut his way through this field, because when everyone's staying side by side, someone might think about forcing it 3 wide at some point.
Yeah, I think at some point you're going to see a lot of action happen here. It's actually Hayward, he's moved up to the top grooves. Love and Morrow have both used the outer groove to get by Whitley. Here's the bottom is starting to deteriorate, and the drivers are slipping backwards. This is getting a little bit spicier as these tires wear in.
I mean, we're seeing the drivers on the outside starting to move forward. Yes, because there's more drivers up there utilizing the draft, more cars in line, the faster you can go on the straightaways. But Zach, which lane really is burning up those tires a lot more than the other?
You know, that's going to be the question that these drivers got to really... Oh, is Leffler almost around with Delvin to the back of his back bumper? What a save from our last week's race winner from Phoenix. Good job on him, but... You know, that's always the telltale question. This track, I would believe, man, I would say the bottom is usually less harsh on the tires, but at the same time, this track has usually been a top dominant track. It can sometimes play out a little bit different, especially with a little more banking up there. You could keep that right front under you a little bit better.
The drivers that we saw dominating on the high line, they are now all up front. Everyone that was running low, besides Hunter Hayward, they're starting to fall back. I think everyone's recognizing it's time for that transition and about 15 laps into their tire wear. Outside to the middle lane, be where you want to be, it seems. As that was such a, that's exactly what we usually see when drivers, you know, in the regular Cup car drift around, but staying still as a pack this long into a run is something you usually don't see in the current Cup cars. But with these next gens, the pack racing is almost always here. I mean, I know I missed Texas, but for Charlotte, it seemed like everyone stayed with one another throughout the whole entire race.
Yeah, it's from what I've seen throughout the season, I think us, the fans, everybody here at home, it's been pretty hard fought. Ooh, the battle for the lead, it's hard fought. Side drafting each other, slowing each other down, really bringing them back here as Hayward and Love battle for the lead. But yeah, this car really just can't break away as Love's trying to take the lead. But like you said, the leaders just never get away, and the pack kind of stays together. Unless you make a mistake, you don't really get taken out of contention.
So you see Derek Love, Gino Morrow, the rookies trying to make their moves forward. Hunter Hayward, he's trying to make the outside line work. But just like that, Derek Love drifts up. He's into the lead and fighting right back. Hunter Hayward to the inside, but behind him, it's going to be almost 3-4 wide as the drivers trying to scatter, get back in line, and a quick yellow in the back as it's going to be that of Darnell and also James Bryant. Contact between themselves.
Oh, yeah. Looks like James Bryant, man, got a little bit loose there coming off forward, gotten into Darnell there, but whew, that was getting very interesting with the racing here. And now also the questions they got to ask, do they want to take a set of tires here?
I mean, you would think usually if you had enough tire sets, you would take a set here. But with the way that we saw Phoenix and kind of a similar trend we're starting to see here tonight, I don't know if we're going to be seeing too many drivers coming in for tires, maybe come in for fuel, but tires might be a difficult thing as temperature was a major factor on why the tires, as well as the setup last week, on why there was so much tire wear. The weather here tonight, it's going to be 76 degrees ambient temperature that you and I would be feeling, but track temp going to be 112 degrees.
Oh.
Still pretty hot out there.
Yeah, that's a pretty slick racetrack still. So these drivers gonna be dealing with that. I would expect the wear to be pretty critical here. Now you can get away with taking a set here. It is a risky call, and I heard a lot of drivers call it, which I think I'm gonna start using this term more. Is kind of the tire lottery. Sometimes you lose the tire lottery, sometimes you win it. Oh, and everybody making big decisions here. Oh, love Rex. Was that contact from Hayward?
Drivers picking and choosing when they're planning on coming in, re-looking at what the
Oh
heck
no.
happened to Derek Love. Oh, it was a
Yeah.
swap by everyone, as we're going to be seeing the replay here, but you're going to see the 87 think about staying out, then late decision to come in, and then he saw drivers coming back up, and he had to come swerving back up and into the wall. Is our former driver that was leading this race. Now he's got a little bit of front end damage.
Yeah, and I tell you what, you also damaged the tires a good bit there, sliding the car. So, man, oh man, I mean, he'll go back to the lead, but that is an interesting case there we've seen of drivers attempting to fake each other off the pit road. I'm not sure if Love was trying to come down and Hayward was coming back out, and it just got awkward there between them, and that's why he made the quick decision to pull back right like that. But man, if that was a fake, he was faking himself out also.
Oh, absolutely. Drivers that were up front, though, that came in. I'm trying to see if Anderson took tires. I know for sure Gino Morrow did take tires, the 71, who was running up in our top five. I don't know if taking tires is the best call at this moment. It's going to put you in a very similar situation that we saw last week with the unsure of how those tires were going to last for drivers. But a lot of damage repair going to be made for that of Mark Koschik, as well as that of Robbie Darnell and James Bryant, who were involved in that incident. Looks like Anderson going to be possibly coming back into pit road for the 92.
Yeah, coming back down in that 92 machine. So interesting call there. See, maybe getting a little topped off for fuel here. I mean, this right here would set him, I mean, pretty close to the limit. I believe about 55 laps. It's about as much as you're going to probably be able to do here tonight. Maybe 58, maybe right around 60. So it's going to be close on fuel here down to the end. Maybe that topping off, if it's a one stop to the end for him, he'll definitely be in a good spot.
Yeah, and with this pacing, I mean, I wonder how many drivers are really going to truly try to risk staying out there. And we talked to the drivers after the race last week at Phoenix. Oh, it sounded like everyone was thinking about saving their tires from the start of the race. Here, their fastest laps are faster than some of the times that they were putting down for practice. So I wouldn't say that saving their tires is the key for tonight for the drivers' mindsets currently, but we'll see how the track evolves throughout this thing. But green flag back in the air as the Smoke Inc. 200 is green once again on lap 23.
Great start from the bottom lane of Hunter Hayward. He's able to take the lead, pushed by Steven Leffler and Steven Stippian on the bottom as they pull down the back straightaway. Looks like Love's going to drop back to fourth, maybe even East possibly getting that run, but that high line with the draft is going to pull forward.
Driver I'm going to keep my eye out on for is how does Gino Morrow drive through this field? He's one of the only drivers that took tires on this pit stop. 71 back in 12th place. We'll see how he can cut his way through the field. It's up front, still Hunter Hayward, and side by side is Stempien and Leffler, two of the drivers that have won these last 2 weeks. That is Stempien and Leffler, and Derek Love. He might have got a little bit of nose damage, but still strong enough to hold up front. Luckily, the draft is there to keep him in up front type of a move.
Yeah, that draft's definitely going to help that 87 for now, but if he ever gets alone at some point, he's going to be hurting. for speed. As you can see, Whitley, the 77, he put the tires on, I believe. And he's charging up through this field here as we continue on.
We've seen drivers picking and choosing on how they want to be moving themselves forward, and a driver that's now challenging for 6th position, that's Brandon Hartwell. Hartwell getting himself a little bit friskied up, 3 wide. It's going to be that of Mark Whitley making a charge on the outside. Gino Morrow, who's now up to 8th with the fresh tires, making his moves forward. But Hartwell was one of those drivers back in Charlotte that had a great run for himself, but it is getting very close, battling for the drivers, trying to get into the top 5.
Oh man, these drivers on new tires trying to navigate their way through that. Gino Morrow and Mark Whitley as they're both behind Dave Bush and Steven Leffler. This is getting very close. These guys are risking it for the biscuit here down the back straightaway. And this might, oh man, you see that 71 just shoved this 72 down the straightaway. That was such a closing.
Oh, there, he's going all the way up to the wall. Gino Morrow, he's got fresh rubber, and he's utilizing it to the fullest potential. Oh, took it low. Gonna be forcing it 3 wide. Morrow back from 12th, now up to 5th, and was thinking about making the move for 3rd.
Ooh, that was ambitious. He was thinking about all of the positions right there. Is now up to 3rd. Next 2 will be the lead for him. He's putting cars between him and Whitley. Maybe he's trying to break that draft. Maybe that's the call he's trying to do, see if he can get away from the other guys on this strategy.
I'm re-looking at the times, and it looks like Gino Morrow, the only driver that took tires on this last pit stop. That's why we're seeing the 71 cut his way through. Mark Whitley only took fuel, so that's why we're not seeing the 77 staying up with that of Morrow. And Morrow from 12th up to 1st in just 4 laps.
Wow, yeah, you can see the difference there. Yeah, Whitley not coming through, definitely not on tires there like you pointed out, Sam. That 71. He is definitely on tires, so he's the only one that elected to do that. He is charging through. Maybe James Bryan also in the 52. It looks like he's charging up through here. He's trying to fight for that 7th position in that 52 machine.
It's Ryan who was involved in our incident that brought out our first yellow and up to 7th for himself. Showing, hey, if you got fresh rubber, you can really make things move, even with the little bit of damage that you've got. Oh, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
Morrow,
when you get boxed in, it is so dangerous.
Oh, it is so dangerous on this racetrack, especially these cars. You just got nowhere to go. And, it makes it really hard to pass at the same time, but it can get pretty dicey out here. But Morrow just stretching the lead out almost up to a full second here. We'll see any points if those tires start to, linger back towards the field here. But at the moment, Gino Morrow is enjoying the fresh rubber, but that could come back to bite him later in this race.
Fresh rubber, fresh air. The 71 is gone, running 4/10 faster than the drivers that are in the draft. He is pulled away to 1.3 seconds. There's no one attached to him. A little bit of contact further back for 6th place. Bryant Love get a little bit of touchy against coming out of turn number 4. Got to be careful between those two, as both drivers already have a little bit of damage. And we've seen when you get some aero damage later on in the race, it can come to bite you, or you're not able to really attack the way that you would like to when you're on equal footing on the same set of tires. But I think we got a sense that tonight might be similar to last week, where we might see a lot of different strategies, as Brian going to be making the inside move, and Brian up to 5th.
Yeah, James Bryan there utilizing those tires to get up here. And they definitely got some good damage on those. You can see straightaway speed in their draft closing in on him very much so, but he's going to use the tires through the corner to be able to pull back by. But I tell you what, Love fighting hard on the bottom here. He might be able to pull him back with a side draft, as yeah, they will still battle here for this position.
Side draft to get to someone's quarter panel, and a little bit closer you get, the more it's kind of like bringing out a parachute, slowing down that car, and all that speed they were building up just completely comes to a halt, and you're just seeing everyone now blasting by the 52. All that ground he just made up, it's gone in an instant.
Yeah, I think that's the damage catching up to that car pretty quickly, and the new of those tires going away. You can see in the corners holds his own, but as soon as we get on this straightaway here, he needs to be tucked up behind someone to be able to go forward, as that damage on that car is too much drag, and that is just pulling that 52 backwards. As unfortunately get caught up in that wreck, but done a good job to rebound so far. If he can keep some of his track position, get it worked on, you never know. Here comes Todd Neeson, the 1. He is flying.
John Nice, he's just been lingering behind, waiting for this move. And you saw the whole entire pack fan out coming out of turn number 4. Love got a little bit loose, which made everyone else have to back out of the throttle for a second. Gets everyone side by side, but now everyone trying to get back in line. Saw Nice able to capitalize with 2 positions because of those simple mistakes. As watching at the rest of the field, I mean, I do want to give note that Alberto Tango was not able to get himself into the grid, and he has not started, so he will not be racing. We've only got 21 drivers racing here tonight. James Adam, he had to start from pit road, but he is now running 19th because of that caution. It helped him get back up with this lead group. Interesting to see what the 24 strategies are going to be here like tonight. We've seen the 24 be willing to stay out on older tires way longer than everyone else. See if that strategy works out for himself. Look at some of the other drivers on where they're battling.
Yeah, it's like Keith Hurlbutt here in the 7 machine, running in the 14th position, directly ahead of Jason Anderson in that 92. What I'm wondering is Jason Anderson, he's the guy who topped off in the 92. Does he have enough fuel to make this a one-stop race? That could play out very well for him if that's how it's going to shake out. But, man, we've seen guys definitely playing a little bit of strategy here. I also wonder if the drivers who didn't top off, how close are they on making it? It's going to be a huge question when it comes down to it. But at the moment, I believe most drivers looking for at least 2 more stops in this race.
Well, an update for our leader, Gino Morrow, and the rest of the field. Gino is now gone from running 4/10 faster than everyone else down to just 3/10 faster. That lead up to 4.1 seconds, and it continues to grow lap after lap. And it's incredible to see the fact that fresh rubber is overpowering the draft this much in these, and just showing it's still, having fresh rubber is so important to have, even if the draft is one of the key factors with these next-gen cars.
You know, one of the other big things you're looking here, too, these 3 are all together. I mean, Steven Stimping has been just straight up pushing Hunter Hayward down the back straightaway, down the front straightaways, but they're really, they're getting closer to holding their own. That was only 2/10 that last time by of a difference, but man, yeah, like you said, tires are still king in these stock cars, even though we've seen this next-gen car. The draft has been very much a prevalent source of how to make speed, but it still seems like rubber is king here.
Also the question of when will we see drivers come into pit road, as my markings were thinking around lap 45 to 50, but with that caution coming out, might push it out a couple of more laps than that initial thought. But also might be if drivers are thinking about tires. With what information we were given during practice, drivers might be forced to come into pit road around lap 45 if they're not able to. James Bryant, though, Brian came into the pits, and for the 52, he's going to call it a day. That just the damage too much for him to handle.
Yeah, that was heavy nose damage, and he's just going to call it quits there for that car. As again, no fast spare. You get caught up in something early here, it makes your night tough, so you got to keep these cars clean. As you see Whitley now in that 77 machine, he's got by Stephen Leffler and Dave Bush to put himself up into the 5th position here running along. As he's looking pretty strong, still 6 seconds back from Gino Morrow, but Morrow still using his tires to the advantage. Right now 32.14 out front to Hunter Hayward's 32.18, and even Whitley was a 32.02. So, you know, these guys are starting to run just as quick as Gino out front.
So 20 laps difference is Gino Morrow to the rest of the field, and Gino Morrow just hit 20 laps on these tires. So, hey, for 20 laps, you're faster than the rest of the field by over 5 seconds in total over those 20 laps. I think you would take that over for a long time. But with the amount of tires that these drivers have for how long this race is, for Gino Morrow, he's got only 2 more sets left in pit road. The rest of the field, they've got themselves still 3 to work with. We'll see how this translates as the longer the race goes on. But for Zach, I mean, for you, the fuel window, I mean, we're coming closer and closer to when these drivers might think about pit road. We've seen how important the draft is, even especially with fresh rubber. Do you think the teams are already talking about when they're going to come in together, or is it just come in whenever you want?
I think you hit the nail on the head there with the teams talking about when they want to come down. I'm sure the Hunter Hayward, Steven Stipping, Dave Bush, especially 3 teammates right up there in this front 8 cars, or really 9 cars here. They're all teammates, so I expect those drivers to somewhat plan this out where those 3 come down together. Somewhat of a super speedway style pit, you pit together, you get the best out and in lap together, and you produce the most time. Running by yourself here, we've seen, like you said, times in practice were slower than times we were seeing in the race, and then times we've seen qualifying. So you're clearly faster by yourself. So we'll see, or not by yourself, sorry, backwards there. You're clearly faster with another car. So you want to have numbers and have a group to go down with. If you come out by yourself, you can see yourself losing that draft, and you will not catch back up by yourself.
A little bit of 2-wide action on this pack we're starting to see. We saw Steven Stimpy and Hunter Hayward. They were pulling away as hard as they could, but they finally got caught up by Mark Whitley and the rest of the field. And now we're finding ourselves here. This is the second back to 9th. So an 8-car pack that we're seeing currently of drivers. And in this 8-car pack, you got 2 that topped off. That's going to be Mark Whitley as well as Michael Yarrow. So for both of those drivers, a little bit further than the rest of the field as Yarrow gets a little bit shaky out of turn number 4. You gotta be careful, gotta stay off that outside wall, especially with the more tire wear these guys build up. You gotta be thinking they're gonna be tightening up off the exit of these corners.
Yeah, this was a great call from Gino to get himself out front here. But right now, that gap is shrinking quickly. They have almost got it back under the 4-second mark and about to be here quickly. Entering that 3-second region of behind this 71, and it's only going to get worse from here as these guys have all hooked up now. They're going to be making time, and it seems like Morrow definitely starting to fall off here with the lap times about this far in the run.
Yeah, those tires, you're seeing the difference of tires for sure. After 20 laps into a run, you start to see the tires equal out and plateau between driving by yourself with a 20-lap advantage to the drivers in the draft 20 laps after usage. As we're seeing now, Gino Morrow, he is doing everything in his power to hold off, but that gap went from 5 seconds now down to 3.7 seconds in just 7 laps. It is one of those things where you never know how well this strategy is going to work out. I'm wondering, though, for Gino, how well is that 71 going to react in the draft with him being by himself for so long? With still that being a tire difference, is he going to be one of the drivers leading the pack, or is he going to be mired back in the back of the pack once he gets caught?
That's a good question. If the draft helps him speed up that much more to be able to pace the field there once he gets up front. But I tell you, I've just been watching him here out front. He's struggling with the car. He is definitely a little bit all over the place. He's been changing his lineup, searching for some type of grip out here, but it just really isn't equating to speed, so he's going back to the bottom here. We'll see what type of lap times he's producing, but still everybody closing in. But I've seen that car really stepping out on exit, getting very close to the wall. He could be suffering a little bit from a loose condition as these guys break under the 3-second mark to get just with under 3 seconds.
Let's talk about dirty air. Would dirty air and tightening up the car, would that somehow fix that loose sensation that he's feeling on the exit, or do you think that's just going to amplify it even more?
It could help it. Now, if you're, the car, especially if the car is turning good, entry the center, and you have no issues there, or even if you're a little bit loose on entry and center, really throughout the whole corner, following someone can help. It usually tends to tighten you up. I have had times where it does get looser behind people, but usually that case happens when the middle gets tighter, and then you tend to turn the wheel just a little bit more as you get a little bit less front turn on that nose, and that's what causes to the rear end getting light and snapping out all of a sudden, and you see those big snap oversteer moments. Usually that's when you're tight in the center, so it can lead to both, Sam, but at the same time, I've had times where I've had a better car following than leading, actually, which you wouldn't think would be the case.
And 2 drivers that have been having issues for themselves, that of Paul Cohen as well as Robbie Darnell, both had to come into pit road in the past 15 laps to get service done for themselves, both still in pit road. Heavy damage from both drivers as we're on board with Hunter Hayward trying to get himself up front and leading this thing once again, but he's got Steven Stimpy and his teammate leading the charge as they are now almost less than 2 seconds away to catching up to Gino Morrow, who must have felt like Superman in those first 15 laps of fresh rubber, and now older tires becoming his kryptonite.
Yeah, and you know he can see in his mirror those guys are getting bigger and bigger and bigger behind him, so it's definitely closing that gap down. You can see the lap times we got thrown up here now. My biggest thing looking at the lap times there, do you know it's not too far off? He's only about a tenth and a half off of what these guys are running. So if he can get this draft stabilized there, he might be able to stabilize, get right back into battling with them, especially with the tire difference he has. But we'll have to see once they get there, because they will get there at some point. But my also question is, they're probably not going to get there before they have to pit. We did have that caution, so we'll see how far they can stretch it with the caution. But definitely nearing that window of when they will have to pit for fuel, because those tanks will be pretty empty.
Yeah, I mean, this is already further than I thought the drivers were thinking about going fuel and driving wise. They are stretching it, trying to turn this race into a one-stop at this point. If you are still out here on track and no one else is showing any signs of coming into pit road, the only driver that has pitted so far is that of Jason Anderson, but Anderson, I believe he does have some slight damage that kind of forced him to have to come into pit road.
Yeah, got that thing worked on there for sure. And now you can see the gap is under the 2 second mark here as we come by the complete lap 55. Now Morrow, Whitley, any driver who really topped their car off there and got extra fuel under that pit stop, they can go a good distance. I believe those guys will be able to go somewhere in the range of 70, the 70 lap mark, the 80 lap mark, which they'll be trying to do if they want to stretch this into a one-stop race. No chance for Stimpy and Hayward. Leftward, Delph, I believe, also in the same situation. No chance for those guys to make it on fuel, not stopping under that last caution. So they're definitely going to have to make 2 stops. I think they're just right now trying to hopefully catch a caution or just stretch it as far as they possibly can here.
And also, you got to be thinking for that of Steven Stimpian and Hunter Hayward. They had to make the swap halfway through this run, because if Hunter Hayward was leading the group, that 3-pack group that we had there earlier in this stint, you would have used up way more fuel than everyone else. I mean, if you're leading these packs, you are not saving fuel. And that same goes for that of Gino Morrow, who has been up front all by himself. He's had 0 draft help. So that means he'll be burning off a lot more than what we've been seeing from Mark Whitley or from Yarrow, as both those drivers have been stuck in the middle of these packs, kind of just using up the draft, try to save even more fuel to make sure they can make to that halfway marker or even further than that.
Yeah, you got a great point there, Sam. You'd be surprised how much fuel just riding in a pack right here you can save. And you're still going faster. That's the mind-boggling thing about it. You go faster. Less drag, though, equals less fuel consumption. It's easier for the engines to work, not as much aerodynamic pressure on the front of these cars and going over them. So it definitely is a interesting concept, but I tell you what, Morrow out front, like you said, going to have way worse fuel mileage than Whitley and Yarrow. I believe those guys should probably, just for running in the pack, probably at least around 2 to 3 laps extra fuel.
Well, next lap, we're going to be hitting lap 60, inching closer to halfway. And before the drivers come into pit road to really shake things up, we'll do a full field rundown with some of the drivers that have been having issues. Up front, Gino Morrow been doing a great job for the rookie. He came into pit road under our first caution, got 4 fresh tires, and he's been cruising along. In second place, it's been Smoke Inc., Steven Stimpian, as well as Hunter Hayward, second and third, running in those positions. You got Mark Whitley as well as Stephen Leffler battling back for 4th and 5th, with that of Brad Delph as well as Todd Neese and Michael Yarrow going to be the drivers in this front pack. Then you fall back 8.5 seconds more. That's when you find yourself the 25 of Brandon Hartwell, Dave Neese, as well as that of Mike Chamberlain. And we're now starting to see some drivers coming into pit road. Drivers are coming in. It's Michael Yarrow. That's Steven Stimpian coming in with Hunter Hayward, as well as Dave Bush, all coming in this time by.
Yeah, I seen Dave Bush hit pit road there, Sam, and I was just saying to myself, well, I know Hayward and Stimpian will be in next lap, and what do you know? Here come the 2 smoking teammates as their teammate Dave Bush left pit road. He's trying to get a little bit of undercut, maybe come out right with them. We'll see how it all shakes out here as they hit pit road for 4 tires and fuel, as Morrow is still out front with about a 1.1 second gap over Whitley. who still has much more fuel in the tank.
Yeah, and looking at the drivers and the best times, from their best times, the current lap times they're running, about a second and a half, a little bit more than that is the difference. So for that of Dave Bush, he's got to make up a lot of ground if he wants to be right on the back bumper of his teammates as they're getting out of pit road. But now we're expecting the shift of more drivers coming in. That's going to be that of Derek Love, the next driver to come into pit road. And for Love, he was leading this race early on before that first caution. That nose damage he got from spinning, it just really hurt this 87 from being up front in that lead pack.
Yeah, it's just went from really good in that first run, then a major mistake, and now a catastrophic collapse with that damage on the nose, and just has not turned out well for that 87. He's had a good start to the season as a rookie, but has had a few hiccups here in the last few weeks that could be taking him down that leaderboard in points. And still at the moment, Whitley closing that gap in, but I tell you what, it's not a crazy amount here, as we'll see this time by about a tenth of a second difference there between those two. Got it down within 8/10, but he'll start to begin the draft now. That gap should be closing out even quicker.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for Mark Whitley and Yarrow, and also for Morrow, all three of these drivers saw all the drivers they were drafting with all come into pit road and get service done, as that of Todd Neese, as well as Leffler and David Neese all getting service done. But David Neese going to be in pit road for an extended time. Could be for damage, also could be a penalty that drivers are collecting. Brad Dolph, believe he might have to come into pit road. He missed his pit box, the 14 back into pit road.
Oh man, Brad Delph, just an unfortunate circumstance from there. Same, and I tell you what, that's a driver that's he's had so much improvement from the first time I remember commentating his races. And it's so good to see him running so well, but just having little mistakes to catch him out here, and that's going to catch him out in this race. It'll be hard to make it up, as this thing's look pretty much green flag racing here from this point on. And as I say that, we'll probably get a yellow.
Koscheck's going to be now coming into pit road on his car, 88 on the ticker, 33 into his pit box all by himself, getting 4 tires and fuel. And now we're looking at the drivers in our top 8. These are the ones that topped off with fuel. And the question is, how much further are they really going to stretch this thing? I mean, you'd have to say they got to go out to at least lap 83 to 84 if they want to make sure they can stretch it, based on what we saw from what all the drivers that did not pit under our first caution. Because of that caution buffer, you got to stretch it out pretty far, which is risky if you can even make it that far on fuel.
Yeah, that is it's really stretching the limits of the fuel. And I mean, those guys coming down around lap 60 there, they had that caution. So really, I would say without that caution, they probably would have been about 55, 56, somewhere around that range of fuel mileage for these drivers. So really, I would say they need to get within, I would say, 56 laps of that distance. So 77 to 78 would be that magic number I'd look at. If they can get there, I think the one stop is very doable.
As we're looking at all the different pit stops and strategies, the top 3, Mark Whitley, Gino Morrow, and Michael Yarrow, now have caught up with one another, and a lead change has happened. Mark Whitley to the point. Gino Morrow falling back to 3rd position, and you're seeing how the 71, he's got the fresher rubber than the other 2, but when you're in the draft, you can just try to conserve the tires as well as your fuel when you're working with everyone around you. But 71 still holding strong, just with the power of the draft.
Yeah, that draft super strong there. Whitley just cruised on by, and Yarrow, though, man, Yarrow, he's a driver I'm looking to break through for a victory, man. He, like you said, you got to watch for him. He's got so much pace, and I gotta say, one of the most clean and least aggressive drivers I've ever commentated, especially for how much speed he has. You would think, so with that much speed, they take a little bit more risk, but this guy doesn't take as much risk as I think he, probably should. But man, his pace is very strong. Looks like he got into the wall, maybe taking a little too much risk, as I said to take some risk.
Yeah, risk against trying to make passes, but don't risk getting your car damaged. Those are the key balances that you want to throw out. Michael Yarrow coming into this race, 4 top 5, 7 top 10s. He's looking for that first win for himself. Second in points coming into this race. So certainly the consistency is there to be challenging. But the man that he's trying to catch up points-wise is that of Mark Whitley in front of him. And Whitley has just been on a tear, like we've talked about his stats earlier on. 4 wins, 6 top 5, 7 top 10s. And he also has 6 out of the 6 out of the 10 poles. Actually, we could throw in 7 counting today. Mark Whitley has 7 out of the 10 races he has gotten the pole positions. Speed by himself has certainly been there for the 77 as the top 3 continue to swap back and forth on who wants to be leading this race.
Yes, Gino got passed for the lead. He's got it back by Mark Whitley as Yarrow did also. He's going to try to battle for the lead now on the inside here. But my question is, are these guys playing a little bit of cat and mouse, trying to save a little fuel off each other? He says, you lead. No, you lead. But the thing is, I'm wondering, if you're trying to save fuel, you wouldn't be running that top line. So these guys must feel pretty confident of making it to the number they need to, unless they're just not thinking about fuel.
Yeah, I mean, that's 78 lap that they're going for. They can easily make it. And I think they could also probably stretch it into like the 82 to 85 window if they really needed to, especially with the fuel that a lot of these guys are saving. It's Gino Morrow that I feel like needs to be behind these other guys trying to save fuel a lot more. But with the longer that these guys stay out and the way that they're swapping back and forth and not really utilizing the draft to its fullest potential, is, oh, you don't want that when you're closing up on someone. A little bit of blinking for the 71. But I'm wondering, yes, they're trying to cut away an extra lap, an extra pit stop that we're going to be seeing some of the other drivers have to make. But will this be hurting them, swapping back and forth and gifting time to Hunter Hayward, Steven Stempien to try to figure out how to unlap themselves? As currently we got a nice pack. Hunter Hayward, Steven Stempien, Busch, Leffler, and Todd Nice all together trying their best to run down our leaders to unlap themselves the hard way, because this pack that I talked about that got fresh rubber that just pitted, they're practically on the same straightaway as our leaders. They are right there. That pack was our leaders, and this is the second pack. Just about 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds is the difference.
Well, looking at this right now, I hate to say it for these guys who are a lap down right now. The strategy that they're on, if it stays green, it's not going to work. They're not going to make up the necessary time here, because right now, yes, they are gaining. But when these other guys come down a pit, they're going to gain right back on them. And if they're smart enough, these guys will group up together and, and think, hey, we're racing each other here, and we need to help each other, and race each other at the very end of this race when we know we have the best shot at this thing. Really, for the strategy to work out now for the 21 to 81 to 53, that group of drivers, it's really going to need to be a yellow at some point where they cycle to the lead here after this group pits. They get a yellow, they're right back in the game. But if this thing stays green, I don't see them making up a full pit stop on these drivers.
Well, the strategy continues on. Our producer, Robert Moyer, he's been calling it all week of his window of when a caution comes out. It's usually in the last 15 laps. So who knows? Maybe that call continues on throughout the week, as it has been absolutely crazy. The last 20 to 15 laps, it always gets dramatic here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. As right now, Gino Morrow, as Mark Whitley, Yarrow, they're trying to hold on. That pack has finally caught up to them, and we're expecting them just blast by this pack of drivers, those on the lead lap and those that are a lap down, as it should be with ease. I'm just wondering if those lead lap drivers, how hard are they going to defend and stay down low and make it hard for the lap cars to try to unlap themselves?
At this point, I think you don't risk, bringing a caution out, because if this thing goes green, like I said, they're in the money. They played the right strategy. They've made it to the point they know they can make it now. They're at lap 79. They'll be coming by here to start lap 80. I mean, they're within the distance, no doubt, to make this thing. They got to feel pretty confident, but here they can make at least some green-white checkered laps, or just, add on to the distance of the life of the tires. His Hayward goes inside of 71. That was almost catastrophic.
Holding on somehow, it's Hunter Hayward, but that was dangerous. You've got the lap car, that of Derek Love, trying to get out of the way. He's staying high. Gino Morrow is doing his best to try to get by that lap car, and then you've got Hunter Hayward and the drivers that just pitted for fresh rubber cutting their way through. Morrow going into pit road.
He said
He missed.
He misses.
He missed. He's spinning, and this might bring out the yellow.
Oh no, but
no
nobody's
yellow
around.
yet. No yellow comes out. He spun on the racing surface, but no yellow. Gino Morrow's chances of this race going perfectly for possibly himself might have gone well. As up front, it's going to be Brandon Hartwell, who has a wreck coming into pit road.
These guys have major mistakes tonight here at pit road. We've seen it under caution, under green, all types of situations here, as this is played out very much live here on Freaky Fast, broadcasting at 1440p for all you fans at home. This is some wild action here in the next gen car, as we'll see when these other guys hit the pit road. Mark Whitley coming down this time.
Whitley comes down, and that one time that we saw that of Hartwell as well as Morrow having their issues, that of Michael Yarrow actually came into pit road, going to be getting his service, getting back out there, as Mark Whitley got to find space to get by the 25, as well as that of Jason Adams getting service for the 24. So it'll be the first car one lap down currently, but we're expecting him to get passed by all the drivers that are in the pack, cruising on by. Gino Morrow.
He might not make it back, Sam. He's 28 mile an hour right now. He's near the edge of pit road. I think he'll get on pit road, but I don't think he gets back to that box where he started night.
Yeah, I mean, he is clutching it. He is trying his best to make it, but it's not looking good for the 71. A driver that had the potential to possibly win here tonight. It all goes up in smoke, trying to get onto pit road. And finally trying to get to the pit entry, but he's going to have to, if he's blinking currently, might think about a tow. As now our new leader going to be Hunter Hayward, Steven Stimpian, Leffler, our top three, with Dave Bush as well as Todd Neese, all in this lead group. Our top five working together. They got a little bit of lap traffic trying to help as long as well. It's Derek Love, but we see there, Gino still, he's slowly making it. But he might make it to his stall, but by the time he makes it, though, it might be better if he had taken the tow instead.
Exactly, yeah, from the very beginning of the deal. Oh, you're very well right about that, because he is just rolling around at 13 mile an hour. I mean, if he goes through, he can't stop short or too far. That's the key here.
Yeah. And he's almost there. He sees his box. He's in his box. He made it. But it came to the cost of going 2 laps down and possibly now 3 laps down for Gino Morrow.
Man, oh man, that just shows you how they always say you can win a race on pit road, but you can for sure lose it there also. An entry, one of the toughest spots. This track also, the angle that you have here at Kansas is very interesting. It's almost off camber. The way that the apron does, it almost drops and falls away from you on the right side of the track. So when you're going left, it's almost like the car wants to go off to the right.
Yeah, I mean, it's so difficult to try to figure out how do you want to attack this. I mean, we saw 2-3 different ways on how to have one of the worst possible entries you could ask for of, you know, having Morrow go up back onto the racing surface. Hartwell went into the inside wall, other drivers speeding into pit road. All the different ways that you can have something go wrong, we've seen here so far under that green flag pit stop, and we're still having one more pit stop that we're expecting to see at least for our front 5, and then you also could throw Derek Love as well as the drivers from 14th on back, all into that mix. The drivers have to make one more pit stop, but the question is, can Mark Whitley or even Michael Yarrow make it to the end? Well, pit stops are coming to a close. We're expecting the next ones to happen here probably in the next 40 laps, so that gives us time. We're going to step away. We're going to go side by side. We'll be back in just a few for Sim Racing Unleashed, racing here for the Smoke Inc. 200 at Kansas.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that Makoni Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, Five Flag Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at Makoni Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, Makoni Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to MakoniSetupShop.com and learn why Makoni Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sim Racing Unleashed. It's Season 10, Race 10, here for the Smoking 200 at Kansas. It was certainly interesting calls. We've only had one caution, and that caution told drivers either to come in to get tires, get fuel, but pretty large majority of drivers decided to stay out, which has put everyone off sync by about 20 laps. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hull, and in the production chair is Robert Moyer. And Zach, we were watching these guys during commercial, and Michael Yarrow, Mark Whitley, they're on the same practical tire strategy. It's just the fact that they had extra fuel to stretch longer, which has now put them in a position to win this race if we stay green.
Yeah, they played the best strategy anybody's played all night. Like, we went the commercial break, they had just pitted. You know, they came out, I think, 8-9 seconds back. They're in the lead now. So we had a commercial. They went from 8-9 seconds to the lead. That strategy right there is a home run because they also have the same amount of tires left as the drivers behind them now. So there's no disadvantage. They're just at a perfect strategy. Ooh, Yarrow getting held up by Nice there. He couldn't decide where to go. Is actually the drivers behind now. It looks like they're pitting here at lap 100 with 33 to go. So they've bit the bullet and said, we just got to come down and try to make up any time we can.
All five of the group up front decided to come in, and they've got to make up this time, because if they do not unlap themselves and a late caution comes out, they might be finding themselves being trapped a lap down. And we've already got ourselves 9 drivers a lap down, and our front runners, they were slowly catching up to some of the other drivers, trying to put more a lap down. But up front, top 3 going to be Mark Whitley, Michael Yarrow, and Brandon Hartwell. Hartwell, we saw him have issues coming into pit road. He's one of the drivers we're kind of concerned about. Might be going a lap down here shortly, but Mark Whitley and Michael Yarrow, it doesn't seem like they're playing nice with one another. They're not really utilizing the draft to its fullest potential, it looks like.
No, they definitely are. Looks like they're trying to play a little cat and mouse game with each other. So, you know, that's going to be the battle for the win there for them, but if they slow each other down, could we see them come back around? I doubt it. I just don't see the ability for these guys to come back around and get themselves in position. Now, like you said, the biggest thing is going to be unlapping themselves, because if the caution does come out, they're a lap down, and it's not going to be a good situation there. So these guys need to get back on the lead lap, maybe catch a caution. They do have a set of tires left, the drivers who just pitted. But, man, this race just went downhill for them, deciding not to pit under that caution, because you can see Whitley, Yarrow decided to come down, get the fuel, no tires, didn't take the tires, so we're on the same tires as those drivers, just gave up the track position to get the fuel because it put them in the window to make this a one-stop.
Oh, what's interesting is it's Todd Nice who only went with fuel only. It was Hunter Hayward, Leffler, Stempian, as well as Busch, all took tires for themselves on this stop as well as fuel. So they're trying to make this run forward. It's Todd Nice that's on a similar strategy as the 6 drivers in front of him. But, you know, on older tires with this run, might be putting Todd Nice in a spot where he might lose the draft and not be really a part of this group that's going to be trying to charge and unlap themselves here which losing another driver means you're losing speed on the front stretch with not as many cars in line.
Yeah, that definitely is going to hurt you. The more cars, the more speed, like you said there, Sam. So that's the thing on the next gen car. I mean, we've come to find out draft is king with this thing. And when you can get more cars together, you can produce more of a run there. As we're jumping through the field here, it looks like Keith Hurlbut here in the 7th. He's actually up in the 5th position here. It'll be interesting to see if he has to pay. I'm unsure exactly what strategy he's playing, but he's in the 5th position. He's 1 lap down. But I tell you what, still running good there from that 21st starting position. That's almost from the back of the field.
Yeah, I mean, everyone right now in our top 5, they're in a very good spot currently. That's going to be Mark Whitley in 1st, Michael Yarrow in 2nd, Brandon Harwell in 3rd. 4, it's going to be Mike Chamberlain, another driver that's having a very good run for himself with Hurlbut on his back bumper in 5th place. And then you've got Hunter Hayward, Stephen Leffler, Steven Stempian, as well as Todd Neese, Jason Adam. Adams is one of those drivers. We weren't sure how his strategy is going to work out most weeks, but right now, running in 10th place, he's about to be passed by that of Dave Bush, who's in 11th, but not a bad day for the 24, who usually his strategies have our heads scratching, but here tonight looks like he's just struggling to keep up with the pace of the drivers on newer tires.
Yeah, just like you said, not the wrong strategy tonight. Just maybe not up to pace tonight. You know, that's the big thing for Adams. But hey, the big thing is he's not had no issues tonight. That's the big thing. You got to complete laps if you want to improve your position throughout the season. That's one of the biggest advice I give to drivers is if you're wrecking out early and getting in positions to not be at the end of that race, you're not getting any experience learning anything from your competition, and that's who you learn from is the drivers you race around. That's how you get better week in and week out. And you know, it's something I think the best drivers take because we all start from somewhere, and we got to learn from our competition.
For sure. Finishing out the rest of the drivers that are running currently in 12th place, going to be Jim Kolsberger, as well as Brad Delf, going to be back in 13th place. Delf found himself being losing the draft and coming in by himself. Same goes for Jim, who's in 12th position. In 14th is where we find that of Derek Love. Love, he was having such a great run earlier on in the race, but this 87, it looks a little bit more wrecked than the last time we saw him, as it has just been a rough night for that of Derek Love. And as well, the driver behind him in 15th place, Gino Morrow. Both of our rookies in 14th, 15th place. They showed speed and chances of brilliance earlier on in the race, but our first caution took out Derek Love's shot of winning this race, and then under the green flag pit stop, Gino Morrow missing pit road, burning up too much fuel, could not get to his pit box, and now finding both the 87 and the 71 3 laps down. Other driver joining them going to be Mark Koschik, who's also going to be in 16th position, and David Neese going to be 4 laps down in 17th. The rest of the field, they are out of the race, DNF'd for the rest of them, and right now the laps continue to tick away. 23 laps to go here, Zach, and it's looking like it's just a 2-horse race on who's going to win this thing for a moment there, but Michael Yarrow has lost the draft of Mark Whitley. Whitley, all by himself, and with the help of the 14 of Dolph, is trying his best to hold on the road to this lead. As the drivers behind them, they have to run and catch up past the leader, drive all the way around the rest of the course, and figure out how to get back to the back bumper of the 77, which looks very unlikely.
Yeah, I just don't see that happening unless something crazy happens. I mean, Whitley and Yarrow have to have a mega catastrophic incident happen to them because they're just so far ahead, and it's got to be something that doesn't bring a caution out if they want to do that. So, but they should be getting their lap back here. So if the caution does come out, these 3 here will be in a still good spot to battle for the win coming down to the end here because they have a set of tires left. As there they go now, Hunter Hayward, Stephen Leffler, and Steven Stempian all break themselves back onto the lead lap. That's going to put 6 cars on the lead lap down here. So that's going to be interesting to see. Hartwell.
Delph into the wall. Oh no! Almost taking out the 77. Oh boy.
He's got damage too.
This could be that little catastrophic incident that you were talking about Michael Yarrow might be coming back into the mix of this if the damage is big enough. But Yarrow's got to be careful because we've seen him overdrive into the outside wall a couple of times. Drivers up front, our front two, they got to be careful. They might be costing themselves this race. And looking back throughout the field, that of Brandon Hartwell. No.
Earl, and the 70
gonna
Mike
be
Chamberlain.
early
butt.
but as well as that of Mike Chamberlain, going to be spitting into the grass. And because they're off the racing surface, no yellow. And that's probably the 4th or 5th time I've seen a car have a wrecking incident and no yellow coming out. Kind of has your head scratching of, I know yellows are on, but when are they really going to call them?
Yeah, it's one of my racing deals there. It's that far left, usually not going to call it down there in the grass. So it's got to be some type of major incident right there near that apron, at least during the racing line. So we'll see if anything bounces back up onto the racing line to cause something. But yeah, looking back at it, Whitley got some damage there from that. But I tell you what, I think I know what's wrong with Yarrow's car. He's got major damage. That right front fender is tore up, and also a little bit of splitter, even hood damage, much more than the 77. I think he's just going to be holding on to that second position, hoping for no caution, because we get this thing restarted, that car is going to be down on speed compared to the guys, especially behind him, who have no damage.
Well, I don't know if you would like for me to call this yet, but I think we're coming up to the Robert Moyer 15 laps window of when we might see a yellow, and we thought we were going to see it there with 20 laps to go. Drivers finally getting themselves sorted out. Well, you know, with the amount of times we've seen cars making collisions here and everyone's still kind of running on track, you never know if another contact could happen, bringing out a late yellow.
Oh, man, Whitley's already had to have some type of a heart attack there with Dale bouncing off the wall in front of him, getting into the rear quarter panel also. I mean, I can only imagine as Dave was trying to unlap himself actually from Mark Whitley. But, yeah, man, this is that window of, like we said, anything can happen. And I tell you, the Freaky Fast curse usually happens in this range. When we see races like this with crazy strategies going on, it's usually when we see these yellows. So I would not be surprised one bit at all. I know some drivers out there, when you're in this position as Mark Whitley is, I always have that in the back of my mind, is just, okay, when is the yellow going to happen? Because it's definitely going to happen. You know, it's me, so it's definitely going to happen. You know, it's one of those things. It's inevitable. But, you know, it's the longest 15 laps of your life, and if it does go green, yeah, man, you're just so relieved. So Whitley right now trying to hang on to it. Same with Yarrow. Hartwell, he might even be able to hang on to third with the gap he has. It's less than 10 seconds, but about right now, though, the time difference between them really only about 0.4 of a second in lap time.
Yeah, and the biggest thing for Mark Whitley, I think, for himself, if this thing goes green, he feels comfortable and confident on winning this race because of the major gaps that we're seeing from everyone. But it's this pack of 3 that we got to keep our eyes on, because if a late caution does come out, they're on the lead lap. They don't have to take a wave around. And also, Dave Bush, he just got himself back on the lead lap that we saw there a couple of laps ago. So we've got 7 drivers on the lead lap currently. And if a caution does come out and Todd Neese is not involved, he'll be finding himself getting that lucky dog position. So for our front runners, they're banking on for that of Mark Whitley. No caution to come out. The rest of the field, they're hoping a caution comes out for them to have a second shot to possibly win this thing.
Man, I tell you what, you know, if this race goes and gets a caution, we're going to see the craziest race through the end of this thing. I mean, you're going to have guys duking it out for the win here. And I can only imagine. And with Mark Whitley coming up to 12 to go now, he's saying, guys, quit talking about the caution. Get over the caution. There's no reason to talk about that. But sorry, Mark, that is what we need to shake this race up. And unfortunately, as the leader right now, you are hanging on to it, but he's just trying to get to the end now. So,
Race of the damaged machines is kind of what's going on around 9th place currently. Got that of Jason Adams and Keith Hurlbut, as well as Mike Chamberlain. Those are the 2 drivers that made contact that almost brought out a yellow. But Jason Adams up to 9th place with other drivers' misfortunes. The 24 looking for a top 10 finish currently, which would add to his tally. He would then have 3 total this season if he can scrounge and keep and hold on to this 9th place position.
Yeah, that'd be a great finish for that 24, especially from starting from pit road. That's definitely starting dead last for him. So he's done a great job to keep the car clean, keep it out in position right now. And if you never know, get a caution, he could be in position, possibly get a wave around if drivers pit. And then from there, you never know what could happen with how wild it gets. So got to keep his head up here. You never know what he can get in these final 10 laps, even though it's only 10 to go.
As we're seeing that of David Nice trying to cut his way through this little pack that we have. He's got the freshest tires and trying to get himself through this group. And sometimes, yeah, you hope that there isn't no miscommunication that could get someone spun around. But the 27 trying to go high, he'll duck it back low to get by that of Adams. And Adams trying to get by Gino Morrow. And Morrow, the big old question mark of what if is really over this 71. If he had made that green flag pit stop and didn't miss pit road, what would we have seen for the 71 late in this race? Because he would have been up there with Mark Whitley and Michael Yarrow challenging for the win if he had gotten into pit road cleanly.
Yeah, I think he would have been right there with him, and that's kind of been the tell of the season for the rookies. We've had a lot of great rookies come here into the series this season with the Cup Series, and man, they've definitely made their stamp, but none of them able to crack into that victory lane yet. So it's definitely been fun to watch them all battle, but just little mistakes have caught them off guard, and that's what it is being a rookie and learning the series as you go. That's why veterans like Whitley and past champions are up front here. But I tell you what, 71 will be one to watch for as the season continues on.
Absolutely. We've seen Michael Yarrow and now Gino Morrow doing a great job for themselves, and watching that of the 71 trying to bump draft with that of David Nice. Questionable here late, but they're trying to maximize their speed, trying to have as much fun as possible. Both of those drivers, multiple laps down, not racing for position, but just having to enjoy themselves here late. 7 laps to go as we're coming closer and closer to the end of this thing. We're seeing Mark Whitley's lead grow more with that of Michael Yarrow's damage, just making him lose more and more time. Question is, will Yarrow be able to hold on to second place? We can continuously get damage. Hartwell, who we also saw get damage earlier because he's on the same strategy, he's trying to catch up. And then behind that of Hartwell is the pack of Hunter Hayward, Leffler, Stempian. They're only 6.5 seconds back from that of Hartwell, who's all on his lonesome. That might be the biggest question mark, I think, for the rest of the race is, where will they be placed late in the race? Will Hunter Hayward, Leffler, and Stempian able to get by the 25 here with only 6 laps to go?
Yeah, looking at lap times wise, I don't think that's going to happen for these guys. Just too little of a time to get there and too little lap difference. It seems like once you get to that 32 flat region, you start to run very similar lap times over and over again. So really, that undercut and these other drivers out front start to even out with these drivers here with 5 to go. They're going to need some type of yellow to get them back in this thing, as Hartwell's actually turning some of the quickest laps on the racetrack. So going to be tough to catch that 25.
Absolutely is. 4 laps to go. Mark Whitley feeling comfortable and confident up front. And the drivers, you've got that of Leffler, Hayward, as well Stempian online trying to help one another. And then back in 9th place, you find drivers that are willing to still be aggressive, and drivers from all different real lines where they want to be. A little bit of bump drafting through the corner back in 9th place. Self giving Adams a shot. If there's going to be a wreck, it's going to be back here. As you got drivers on on older tires, new tires, all willing to possibly go 3 wide, 2 wide, as it's 3 laps to go.
Oh, we talked about the Hornet's Nest during the commercial break. This is the Hornet's Nest right here, as we got 3 to go. Like you said there, Sam, Delph looking for somewhere to go. Nice and Adams kind of the 2 plugs on the bottom and the top, as Morrow and Delph look to go forward.
The biggest thing is why we're seeing this aggression is because that of Delph and also Gino Morrow, they're battling for position. The 14 and the 71 battling for position into the wall, and there they go spinning. This could be the yellow. They're still sliding as the yellow comes right before the white flag. Oh my goodness. We knew there was a chance, and they did it. Mark Whitley's win was just a half a lap away from coming to the white flag and the yellow flies. Well,
I'll tell you what, guys, that changes everything. They're going to hit pit road, get tires, and this is going to be crazy.
as Dave Bush going to be getting a lucky dog position, but our top 6 all going to be able to get some tires. And Mark Whitley, what friends is he going to have up front? We saw that the draft is so important on how you're going to be able to hold drivers off, and teammates are certainly going to be friendly here. Oh, Zach, what are we... what is going on? What a week it's been racing wise on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We're going into overtime once again this week.
Overtime. Oh man, here at Kansas with the next gen car, it's gonna get wild, and these guys are gonna be hitting pit road. Mark Whitley's got to be nervous. He's got damage on the right front. So does Michael Yarrow. Man, if I'm Brandon Hartwell, Hunter Hayward, Steven Leffler, Steven Stippian, these guys have got to be feeling very good about their chances right now. This is going to be crazy. If you're a fan out there tuning in right now, thank you for tuning in first of all. But if you haven't yet, hit that thumbs up button, because this is about to get wild here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. And also hit that subscribe and bell notification button so you can be known when we go live each and every night, because man, you can see more action like this here nightly. As it looks like Hartwell, he played the strategy game. He's out first.
He was thinking about pit road, but I think he missed it.
Oh,
and now Hartwell has to drive all the way around. Luckily, it's only 6 drivers on the lead lap, but Hartwell does have damage that he is going to have to get repaired. I think maybe it was the thought of, if I drive through, get raced right back up to the pace car, I can get as much repairs done. But this is oh man. Hartwell, this is a gutsy call. If this was a strategy move on his part, Yarrow had to stay in for 41 seconds to get repairs done on that 95. A lot of repairs. Mark Whitley did not take repairs for himself. But Hunter Hayward, Steven Leffler, Steven Stempien, those 3 drivers, they're looking pretty clean if you look at their machines. It's our front 3 that I'm concerned about on damage-wise, as that of Hartwell back into pit road.
Man, oh man, Sam, this is so crazy right here. This is going to be wild. We're going to have 3 attempts at this thing possibly. So don't just think this is the only one out there, folks. If we get another caution, we got to take a few more attempts. And I'm going to tell you what, I would not be surprised if this race came down to some contact. It's going to be very close battles and taking chances and side drafting, trying to pull each other back, get runs, push each other, bump draft. I mean, you're going to see everything in the NASCAR definition here. It's going to be a fun one to watch.
We're going to be excited, hoping that I don't blow up my mic like I did last night with how exciting that race got. We're going to see how tonight goes. Mark Whitley, Hunter Hayward, Steven Leffler, Steven Stempien, as well as Brandon Hartwell, Michael Yarrow, all excited on how to attack this racetrack. We're in overtime. How overtime works is we go into a green-white checkered situation. We go green, you got 2 laps, so you got 1, and when you get back to the line, the white flag is there for you to finish out the race. If we get a yellow before we get the white flag, we will go into our next attempt. If we get the white flag, though, we race it until we get to the checkered flag, and practically anything goes once the white flag is out in the air, as drivers are going to be aggressive at the end of this thing. We have 3 attempts if needed. If we get to that 3rd attempt, the race can end either by crossing the checkered flag on the white flag or by yellow. The drivers, they're hoping they finish this thing under green. But Zach, we know, we've seen it. The drivers are willing to get aggressive and make some very aggressive moves at times, dangerous moves that can ruin a race. But it's overtime. Anything goes, really.
Yeah, anything goes at this point. It's all about the race win here now. You know, you're gonna see Hunter Hayward and his teammate Steven Stippian up top. Last week's race winner on the bottom below Mark Whitley there in that 72 machine. Steven Leffler, he's gonna have a shot at this thing. I mean, it's gonna get very wild. Only 7 cars on the lead lap, but our front 6 are the lead cars. Then Dave Bush is actually behind a few lap cars because he had to take the lucky dog, so he's at the tail on the longest line. So he'll be hoping for something to happen here to get him back up there in position. But front six here going to be doing battle. What lap car plays a factor here? Does Jason Adams, does Mark Chamberlain, does any of these lap cars get involved? We'll have to see once we get back going.
Base car is lingering as it pulls off onto the apron into pit road. It's time. The Smoke Inc. 200 is green. The pedals down. It's Mark Whitley, Hunter Hayward, bringing us to the green. Our first attempt at overtime, as both drivers going to be side by side going into turn number 1. It's when we hit the backstretch that we're expecting a lot of these dangerous moves, and into turn number 3.
Oh, side by side, out of 2, and Hayward has the run. Here comes the run from Stimpy, and look at that. Whitley was trying to side draft. He's got the help of his teammate. Here comes Stimpy, and around the outside, does Hayward pull back up high to give the draft? Yes, he does. We've seen the teamwork from this Smoke Inc. drivers work. They side draft from behind, coming to the white flag.
We get the white flag. This race is concluding. We only needed 1 attempt, and right now it's going to be that of Hunter Hayward, Steven Stympian, continually trying to pull away. But if there's going to be a driver trying to steal this win, it's got to be that of Steven Leffler, as Mark Whitley, too much damage for himself. To the inside, going to be that of Steven Stympian. He's got the run, but will the draft overcome? A little bit of bump happening there. Teammates making contact. Here comes Steven Stympian, but Leffler to the inside. He's down deck into the middle. It's going to be Steven Stympian to the line by a nose, it looks like. And oh my goodness, it's Hunter Hayward by 6 thousandths of a second.
What a finish. What a finish. And those were the 3 that were lined up, did the different strategy. We said if a caution came out, they would be in position. And look what happened. The teammates battled down to the end, and that was very close, tight racing, but clean at the same time. Man, what an exciting finish there.
I thought maybe the bump through the center of 3 and 4 was going to give a shot for Steven Leffler, but the late block by Stympian made it, because Stympian had to make that blocking move and Hayward was just focusing on going straight. He got the run, had the better speed, and the 21 now gets to come to the start finish line and burn it down, as it was all about keeping the car clean at the end, and that's what they did. Hunter Hayward, he now has the most mile-and-a-half wins with 2, and finds himself tied once again with that of Mark Whitley with the most wins this season. Congratulations to Hunter Hayward, and we will be right back in a few with Hunter Hayward, Steven Stympian, and Steven Leffler, as we'll be talking to that of Zach Hall in just a few.
All right, we are back here, everybody, for our post-race interviews after tonight's race here at the Kansas Speedway and for the Smoke Inc. 200. And man, what it was a 1-2 from Smoke Inc. also, so that's great for them. But let's first talk to our third place man, Stephen Leffler, last week's winner at Phoenix. Let's hear about his great run he had here tonight, Kansas. Another stellar finish from him. Hey, Steven, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man.
How's it going, Zach?
It's going great, Steven. I tell you what, buddy, man, what a great run for you again tonight after the win last week at Phoenix. You are back here in the top 3, my friend. So how does that feel to keep the momentum up? I know super close to the victory there, and you can tell us about coming down to the end there also. But how does that feel to be back up here with some more momentum building?
Yeah, I really thought I was in the catbird seat there, having the second on the inside line. But yeah, just the outside line had a wonderful restart there. I mean, they were charging hard, and then by the time I caught up to Whitley, I had such a run on him that I felt like it was a dumb move to try and push him. So I just went around him, and then my hopes from there were just to try and stay with the 81 and the 21, and it was tight coming to the finish, and I actually thought Stimp was in the lead there, so I actually went to the outside of him to try and get second. I didn't realize Hunter was in front of us, so that was a huge surprise to me that he won the race. But congrats to him. Hell of a run for him, the 81 and me. We had a big deficit there after that caution kind of put us behind. I didn't realize that if you pitted early on that first caution that you would have made it on one stop, and those guys played that card very well. And we were really fighting from behind. So that caution was a huge savior for all 3 of us, especially since we would have been 4, 5, 6. So to come back and get 1, 2, 3 for all 3 of us after running for so many laps together, that was a pretty good finish there.
Yeah, it really was. What a timely caution for you 3 there to put you guys up into the top 3. That definitely worked out, man. But I tell you what, man, it's been a good past 2 weeks here for yourself to see you back up here after winning last week at Phoenix. Now up here back in the top 3 at Kansas. We go to a similar racetrack to Phoenix, in Richmond next week. How you feeling about that, man?
I'm extremely hyped. I actually, for some reason, thought Richmond was this weekend, so I was really hyped coming into this race. But I've had some pretty strong finishes at Kansas before, so I was still relieved that it was a good track for me, something that I've had some good finishes at before, and actually fought for a win a couple times here. So still a good outcome. Let's see if we can keep this momentum going. I for sure thought Stimpy had that I was going to be a Steven 3 races in a row. So sucks that didn't happen, but congrats to Hunter. He deserved that. That was a nail biter finish right there.
Yeah, it definitely was. But I tell you what, you're right there in the picture too, man. So congrats on 3rd here tonight after your win last week, man. Before we let you get out of here, Steven, anybody wants to shout to?
Yeah, of course, 22Q Family Foundation for letting me run their colors, putting their name on the car. Renegade Reptiles, that was one sponsor that I forgot last week because I was so in shock over that win. So thanks to Renegade Reptiles. Of course, all the fellow admins and all the other racers here at SRU for putting on a good show. What a good 2 weeks in a row. Actually, 3 weeks. Darlington actually wasn't that bad either. It was a pretty solid race for us. So hopefully we can keep this momentum up and get a good finish next week. But last one is thanks to you guys for putting the show on for us week in and week out, and then all my family and friends.
Well, Steven, congrats on 3rd here tonight, man. We'll catch you at Richmond next week. Maybe we'll see you back in victory lane in that 72 machine, man.
Yeah, man. Hope to see you there.
All right, guys. That was Steven Leffler, your 3rd place finisher here tonight in that 72 machine. He was able to bring home that 3rd place position after winning last week at Phoenix. So another great finish. But the Smoke Inc. 200, we got to the top 2 being 1-2 here at Smoke Inc. Getting that timely caution to pull it off. Let's hear from Steven Stimpian, our winner from Darlington 2 weeks ago, about his 2nd place finish here tonight. Hey, Steven, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Zach, how you doing?
Doing great, my friend. Great to hear your voice again, buddy. Man, I tell you what, another classic finish with your teammate there, Hunter Hayward here at Smoke Inc. 200. You're going to get the 1-2 for Smoke Inc. with that timely caution to put your guys in position. Man, I would tell you what, probably didn't expect that to end up that way with how the race was playing out there with your guys' strategy not working. Kind of take us through that battle, though, there at the end between you and your teammate.
I'm starting to think I should sponsor all these races. Boy, that was fun. I was cursing these guys out earlier because I said, let's pit and get gas. And they both said no. And I was like, see what happened, guys? Our strategy blew. But hey, I want to thank whoever came out with that caution. That was beautiful.
Yeah, it definitely played in your you guys' hand there coming down to the end. You know, you made the big move there to get to the inside. That was so tight racing between you and your teammate. I mean, you guys probably couldn't even fit a sheet of paper there between you, maybe a little bit of contact there in the middle of 3 and 4. Then coming down to the start finish line, did you think you had them? What, you know, these cars are just so interesting with how they side draft this stuff. What was your plan coming out of 3 and 4 there?
Just hold it and let it roll. See what happens. I wasn't trying to wreck them. Obviously, I didn't want to get into them. So it was tight racing. I was happy to see a photo finish like that. I don't think we've had one here like that since you guys been broadcasting. So that was an awesome finish. It was exciting to be a part of. Happy for Haywood. He got me by a hair. Must be because I'm bald. Didn't get me that win. It's unbelievable, but whatever. Just excited for the guys smoking too. You know, we had top five showing between me and Haywood and Bush, and I told Leffler I'm never helping him ever again because he could give me a little extra push there at the end to get me across. But what can you do? It was a fun ending. You know, being 24 seconds back on that last pit stop was kind of depressing being on that run and just the way the strategy played out. But everything happens for a reason, I guess. You know, get that caution and get a nice finish for you guys and the viewers out there.
Oh man, I tell you what, it's been an uptick in finishes for you. Also, man, you know you won 2 weeks ago at Darlington. We've seen yourself go back to victory lane there in that 81 machine. Then you have a great run here tonight at Kansas. We head off to Richmond next week. What's the plans for Richmond? Man, can that 81 run just as good as it did at Darlington?
I hope so. I haven't been to Richmond with this car. I was just we just had the Xfinity race, and me and Whitley were 1 and 2 there. So looking forward to see what the next gen looks like at a short track. You know, last week was brutal with the tire situation. It was just a tough race all around. I was glad to get that race out of the way and move on to Richmond next week. But yeah, I've had a couple of good finishes, top fives, a couple top tens. That's all you can ask for, you know.
That is very true, my friend. I tell you what, it's great to see you up there, up front and contending for wins week in and week out, man. So I tell you what, Steven, congrats on second here tonight, man. Before I let you get out of here, anybody send a shout to?
Obviously, you guys, I try to race my hardest to get up here with you guys and chat with you guys because I always enjoy talking to you guys after the race. And, you know, the broadcast is amazing. I just got a new TV this past week and I was watching some of the last couple of weeks. And boy, it is literally like watching NASCAR. It's great, great, great. I don't even know the word. I'm just excited about that race, but great quality. And obviously, my beautiful fiance Kayla and my handsome baby boy Callan. I got to thank Kayla for letting me do this week in and week out, giving me a couple hours to do what I love to do. And shout out to my dad out there. Got to hang out with him today before the race, and I know he was watching. Love you, Dad. And you know, obviously, thanks to everybody at Sim Racing Unleashed, week in and week out, to putting out a good show out there for the viewers out there.
Well, Steven, congrats on second here tonight, man, and putting on a great show for us here. We'll catch you next week at Richmond, buddy. See if you can get that thing back in victory lane.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. Have a good
All
week.
right, guys. Yeah, you too, man. All right, guys. That was Steven Stippian, your second place finisher here tonight in that 81 machine. As his teammate with the 1-2 here at Smoke Inc. at the Kansas Speedway here. Hunter Hayward's going to bring home that victory. So he's looking very strong at the mile and a half, really at all the tracks. This 21 is very, very strong past champion also. Let's hear from him. Hey, Hunter Hayward, is Zach all in the booth? You got a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, buddy, I tell you what, another victory in your back pocket here, man. I tell you what, coming down there the last 10 laps, probably weren't thinking much about the victory. They're coming down the end, possibly thinking about catching that 25 to get up to third. But, man, the yellow flag waves and take us through that last segment there.
Yeah, so yeah, we came down pit road. We knew we were going to be a lap down, or at least right at the tail end of the lead lap, and we were right, and we came lap down, so we got around the leaders, and we knew that pretty much we weren't going to make up 30 seconds in that allotted amount of laps that we had left, and so we kind of were just running our race and trying to make up as much time as we could. I had my eyes focused on catching up to the 25 of Hartwell, who was running a third of the time, and was coming up to 2-3 to go, I believe, and we were kind of just running around, just running our pace, and caution comes out. So now stuff definitely got spicy then, and I came down, took tires. I knew I'd be right behind my teammate on the restart, and I just told him, I'm gonna stick with you. I don't care how it finishes. I just want to be 1-2. It's exactly how it happened, and great race to the line too. I did not expect that. I thought he got me, but just by a hair. That was another Jimmy Johnson-esque finish right there, but that was an awesome race overall.
Yeah, it definitely was, buddy. Great win for yourself in that 21 machine. Now I gotta ask you about the pit strategy. What made the call there? Did you guys not really think about how the fuel mileage was going to play there? Was that not even in the thought process? What take us through that, because that caution comes out early in this race. You kind of got a crossroad of decisions. Don't want to waste a set of tires, but some drivers electing to do that, like the 71 Gino Morrow. So what goes through the head there as you take that caution in early in a run?
Yeah, so that caution came out around 18, 19-ish, and so I was actually talking to my teammates about going down and taking fuel only, kind of like what Whitley and other drivers did. One of my other teammates then told me I still got around 48 laps left of fuel still, so I'm just going to stay out. I don't think we're going to make it that far, showing how much the tire drop-off was, and track got more rubber down more and more, and the tire fall off got less and less, and so unfortunately it didn't fall into our favor, and that caution saved all of our lives and races right there. So thankfully that caution was out, but yeah, we were just expecting the tire fall off to be a lot stronger, kind of like what happened at Phoenix last week, but unfortunately it wasn't, and we kind of dug ourselves into a hole that we couldn't get out of, and fortunately enough that caution helped us out, and now we're here in victory lane today.
Yeah, definitely here in victory lane. So congrats on that, buddy. Multiple wins this season in your back pocket. It's been a great season here so far in the next gen car. Heading off to Richmond next week. How you feeling about that one?
Ooh, I like that track. That's a really fun track. And with this car, it's very interesting in short tracks that you have to downshift from fifth to fourth gear. This car has an extra gear than we're used to in a stock car, so we're gonna be downshifting, and it's gonna be much easier on the brakes as well. It's much stronger brakes in this car, much easier to lock it up. So it's gonna be an interesting one. I really like that track. Richmond's a fun little short track, and with these cars, you can bang them up pretty well. So you might see some heavy racing later at that race at Richmond. But overall, yeah, it's a great way to go to Richmond, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that one plays out next week here. But Hunter, congrats on the win, buddy. Before we let you get out of here, who helps make it happen on that 21 machine?
Yeah, just everybody out here in the league who I race with every single Sunday night. I appreciate all of them. Great people to race with and hang around. So thank you to everybody. SRU helps out and races every single Sunday, Wednesday, and even Fridays. Freaky Fast for being able to broadcast these races. Everybody out there, Freaky Fast who helps out. Robert in the production chair almost every single day of the week. So you do a fantastic job. Also, for me to be able to commentate on Thursdays as well, and even other days, check us out on Thursdays. As we do an Xfinity League at 9:20 Eastern, so check them out. It's a great league, fun to commentate as well. Also, quick shout out to my sponsor, PlainViewSales.com. I run them on the hood every single Sunday and Tuesday night on Freaky Fest. If you're looking for any racing apparel, diecasts, memorabilia, any sorts of that from IndyCar, NASCAR, dirt racing, Formula One, any sort of motorsport, they got it. Check them out. Make sure to use code HH48HH as in Hunter Hayward 48 at checkout to get free shipping on orders $20 and over. And it would really help us both out, and I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, my teammates out there, Dave Bush and Steven Simpian, helped me out all day today, and really good finish, 1, 2, and 4. So really thankful for that. And yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, congrats on the win. We'll catch you next time at Richmond. Go celebrate this thing, man.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was your race winner here tonight of Hunter Hayward. What a drive from that young man in the 21 to pull off the victory after a late caution brings out the heartbreaking finish for Mark Whitley, who we'll see here drop down the board as here's our race results. Hunter Hayward, like I said, brings home that victory. Second place going to his teammate Steven Stimpian here at the Smoking 200, the 1-2 for them. Third is going to go to Steven Leffler. Then Dave Bush coming in there with a fourth place finish here. So great finish for him in that 53 machine, also from Smoking. Fifth going to go to Brandon Hartwell. Sixth going to be Michael Yarrow. Seventh's going to end up being Mark Whitley after getting caught up there in an incident late in the going. Without that caution, looked like it was his race to lose. Eighth's going to go to Mark Chamberlain. Ninth's going to be Jason Adams. Right now, your top 10 is going to be Jen Coleman Spear. About to get that name right better. But 11th's going to go to Keith Hurlbutt. 12th's going to go to Jared Love. 13th's going to be Brad Dell. 14th, Todd Neese. 15th is going to go to Gino Morrow. 16th is going to go to David Lee. 17th, Mark Koscheck. 18th is going to go to Jason Anderson. 19th, Robbie Darnell. 20th is going to go to James Bryan. And rounding out our field tonight in the 21st position is going to be Paul Cohen. And that's your race results here tonight from the Smoky 200 from the Kansas Speedway. And Sam, what a race it was. What a wild finish there. Almost 3 wide.
Yeah, it was a race of fortune and misfortune for a lot of these drivers. The unknown certainly kicked in here tonight. You thought maybe those drivers that pitted under that first caution were in a loss and a deficit coming into the rest of the race, but it actually turned out they were in the best spot. But that late caution that came out, we had a feeling it was going to come at some point, and with 2 laps to go, it put us into overtime, and the drivers with the cleanest cars were the ones that finished 1, 2, 3 on the lead lap. An absolute dazzling race to see, but you got to feel for Mark Whitley as well for Michael Yarrow. Both of them were looking poised to finish 1 and 2, but that misfortune kicked in for them late in the race.
Oh, yeah, definitely some misfortune for those guys. It was looking like an easy 1-2. Even Hartwell losing a top 3 there for him in that 25, even though he brings it back to 5th. But Yarrow 6th, Whitley 7th. That is a huge heartbreak for those 2 drivers who drove a flawless race with the strategy and looked in position to win it all. But late cautions, you never know in racing, especially with that NASCAR oval style racing. It's never over till that checker flag flies. And like we've seen, Hunter Hayward was able to capture the checker flag here in overtime tonight. And what a night it's been. But I believe that'll do it from here up in the booth at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We'll send it up to Robert Moore Jr., our producer, as he'll close it on out here for our Sim Racing Unleashed Cup Series.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Great calling, great action-packed. Hopefully everybody enjoyed tonight's stream and action racing here with these next gens with Sim Racing Unleashed. If you're going back and watching this, we do appreciate everybody that comes out and watches all this stuff and gives the likes and the shares and, and the subscribes. We do appreciate that. But wow, what some racing, man, we had here tonight. These next-gen cars, we come in blinded, not knowing, track to track, and they put on a pretty good show. And we're learning more and more as we go on what these cars are going to do. So if you enjoy these cars, make sure you check out Sim Racing Unleashed on Sunday nights. All you got to do is go to simracingunleashed.com, check out their website, and, if you want to race with these guys, put in an application, and they'll do what they can to get you in the board and out here on the track with them this season. As this season's almost coming to an end, guys, here. We only got a couple more weeks yet, and we're going to be crowning a championship. So that's going to be ramping up here very, very shortly within the next 3 weeks or so, somewhere around there. So, but our next televised broadcast will be Tuesday night with Brandon Colley and Zach Hall as we head off to Dover for the ARCA Evolution Racing League and also the RSR Cup Evolution Racing League, all in one doubleheader as we head to Dover in the ARCA cars and the Cup cars, as we'll be live at 7:20 and then at 9:20 Eastern as they are getting ready to wrap up their playoffs too, as we're going into a new round here in their playoffs. So that's going to get heated up and be very interesting. So we'll see if the trend continues, as these guys were talking earlier tonight. I've said 15 laps to go. We always seem to have a yellow. Well, guess what? It hit again here tonight. But from Sam and Zach, and me, Robert, up here in the booth from Kansas, the virtual side of things, we want to say to everybody out there, have a great week. God bless everybody. We love yous all. Peace out.
Bye, everybody.